Hi friends, welcome to the session 2 of Oracle Database Backup and Recovery. I'm your friend Arun and today we will understand about RMAN. I hope everyone has joined the call and good to see you, most of you back into the meeting, and I hope everyone is doing well. Fine, let us start with our session. Today we're going to be seeing about RMAN, what is Recovery Manager. We will understand about different components of RMAN. We will get into RMAN configuration. We'll try to take RMAN backups and perform a simple database recovery using RMAN. First of all, before starting about RMAN, I would like to hear from you people. What do you understand by RMAN? Or can anyone explain me about RMAN? Anyone in the meeting would like to try the answer?
Hello.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, by using RMAN, we can take logical backup, that is table layer and the database and the data file level.
Okay. Can you take table backup from RMAN? Are you sure?
Uh, Now we can import.
Using RMAN?
Yeah, we can restore
A table or a table space?
table space.
Good. Thanks. Anyone else? What do you guys understand by RMAN? Fine, no problem. Let us start this session. Okay, so regarding RMAN, first of all, RMAN is nothing but recovery manager. So RMAN is a automated tool of Oracle backup and recovery. Yesterday we have seen that there are so many issues while taking the backup and performing the recovery at OS level or using OS utilities called as uh, copy command or move command, something like that. Perfect. So this is why, because of OS level issues and copying the backups to different location and trying to restore, this is becoming a bit headache to a DBA. So what Oracle did, they came up with a new tool called as RMAN, which is nothing but recovery manager. And RMAN has some features that will really make a DBA job very easy. So to understand RMAN, it really takes a good deal of time, but due to time constraint, what we will do is we will keep the session as short and sweet as possible. Okay. So I think some of our friends are having issues. But no one responds. I hope most of you are able to hear my voice. Am I right? Perfect. So people who are having issues, I can't help them. You need to check with your internet connection. Okay, let us not waste the time. So to speak about RMAN, it was introduced, Oracle Database Backup and Recovery Automation. So it was basically introduced in 8i version. Oracle 8i had the first version of RMAN, but that was not as robust as it is today with Oracle 11g. So that's the reason from version to version, RMAN has been, it is being revised and the new features are being added to RMAN. So I think we have one question. So we have a question, how will ask question and give answers Gajendra Reddy? So I think you can use chat, and also I allow people to speak up in between. So at that time you can unmute and speak up. So I don't mind. Perfect. So as I said, RMAN was introduced in 8i version. So from that point of time, RMAN is being, revised and new features are being. Uh, okay, guys, I'm getting disturbed with the chat you guys are doing. Everyone is writing some or the other thing. I'm really getting disturbed in taking the session. Can you guys stop chatting right now? If you really have a question, then only write it in the chat. Or else, please, sorry. Because there are people on the call and I'm getting disturbed with so many welcome, thanks and all those kind of chats. So please stop it for a while. Once we have a free session, please type in whatever you want to type. Thank you. Once again, I'll start off from scratch. RMAN is nothing but recovery manager. It was introduced in 8i version. From there on, there were many issues in the initial phases. In 8i version, RMAN was there, but you cannot use it because there were so many issues at the RMAN level. And later on from 9i, 10g, 11g version, it has been improvised so well. New features are being added. And today, Oracle recommends to use RMAN. If you are having an 8i database, Oracle will only tell you not to use RMAN because it was not as good as it is today. But in today's world, if you are using 11g, Oracle 11g, Oracle will recommend you to use RMAN for backup and recovery. It will not ask you to go with OS level utilities or cold or hot back. So why? What is so special about RMAN? That is the main important thing. So one good thing about RMAN is, let us take an example. These are my data files at OS level. Now, when I take a OS level copy, that means either a hot backup or a cold backup, I am doing Control C and Control V. That means all the files I am putting in new location. Am I right? Yes or no? Now, the main issue is when we create a data file with something called as, let's take 5 GB, and I have a data file again as 5 GB. All the files are example for 5 GB. Okay, but internally, I don't think that every data file will contain entire 5 GB of data, because when you create a new data file and assign it to a table space, it will have entire free space, but it will start filling up the space inside the data file only when you create some objects in the database. So which means when I am performing a OS level copy, I am copying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 25 GB of files every time. But internally, there might be a situation that first file is filled up only this much, second file is only filled up this much, and we have third file, similarly fourth file, and maybe the fifth file is only filled up this much. So what happens in this case? We are wasting so much of this space because there is not really 25 GB of data inside all the files. Maybe the entire data is only of 10 GB inside 5 files, right? There might be a situation. Am I right or not? Do you guys agree with me?
Yeah.
Perfect. So now this is where RMAN came into picture. So with cold backup and hot backup, this was the major issue that we used to copy the OS level files irrespective of what data in it. The entire file was copied to another destination, which used to cost the hard disk. So every day copying a 25 GB data, you are wasting so much hard disk space. But if you look in reality, the entire data files are not even containing the 25 GB of data. They are containing example only 10 GB of data, rest all is free space. Now where does RMAN comes into picture? Now what RMAN does is, let's take this is one data file. So inside data file you have different data blocks. Let's take these are the used data blocks and there are many more. So we are taking an example that all the red ones are the used data block and all the other are free data block. So when we take a backup in RMAN, what RMAN will do is it will actually take the backup of only used data blocks in every data file. So with this one, the output or the backup size would exactly be almost all equal to the used space in the database. RMAN takes backup of only used blocks in entire database. Because do you see a point in taking the backup of free blocks? Do you think there should be a backup of free blocks? Or does it make sense to take the backup of free blocks? No, right? So this is why RMAN is 100 times better when it is compared to the traditional or normal user managed backups. So as I told you in last session, there are two types of backups. One is user managed backups, that is nothing but copying files at OS level, and there is RMAN backups. So when it comes to RMAN backups, RMAN will take the backup of only used blocks in the database. But whereas it is user managed backups, we will copy the entire data file at OS level. So there is a difference. So this is the primary difference where RMAN performance stands out when it is compared to user managed database, sorry, backups. So it performs block level backup. So which one fast? So we have a question, which one fast, logical or RMAN? I believe you must be able to answer by now. Am I right or not? I think after 2 days session, you must be able to answer this question. You should not ask me. Okay. So the next point in RMAN is it performs block level backup. And when it is compared to user managed backup, it is file level backup. And one of the best part about RMAN is there is something called as parallelism. Now what exactly is parallelism? Now let's take, I have a file and I am copying it to another destination. So which means I can only perform CP command, or if it is Windows, I can only do Control C, Control V. So when I am doing Control C, Control V, there is literally only one thread or one process that really copies the original file to destination. But when you are taking backups using RMAN, there is something called as you can initiate parallel threads. So this will internally make your backup more fast. So do you think with this one you are gaining some confidence and you would recommend your client to use RMAN than the traditional backups? Yes, no? Great. So RMAN is faster because it takes block level backups. RMAN is faster because we can initiate parallel processes. So these are the first two learnings about RMAN. Next. Now, when you are working with RMAN, RMAN is so intelligent that RMAN can even detect if the data files of the database are corrupted or not. So this is one of the beautiful feature of RMAN which I just love it. Why do I love it? I'll tell you. Now, this is your data file and you have different blocks in it. Okay. Now let us assume we have different used blocks. These are some used blocks in the database, and somehow one of the used block is corrupted. So we have a question. Is parallelism available in all Oracle editions standalone, standard enterprise edition? I believe yes. So if you have RMAN, then RMAN internally will have, see, this is, the question is like, if I have a database or SQL plus utility, can I connect to a database or not? So parallelism is a feature of RMAN. If you have RMAN, you can definitely use it. Okay, so coming back to the question, we have something called as data block corruption. Now let us assume we are taking an OS level copy. Okay, so if I am taking a OS level copy of this data file with our traditional backups, what will happen? Even in my backup, this corrupted block will also be there. So let's take, I have this backup file. Now my entire database crashed. I am copying it from my backup location to original location. Now when I start my database, I have a corrupted block. Or there might be a situation multiple blocks are corrupted, and that might lead to a database corruption, and eventually you cannot start the database. Which means even if you have taken a backup, it is not at all usable. So this is one of the main reason you should never go for traditional backups, or you should never recommend cold or hot backups to any client. Now, what can RMAN do for you? The beauty of RMAN is you have a data file, you have blocks in it, some are used, some are blank, and let us take, we have some used blocks, and there is one corrupted block. And let us say this is my RMAN utility. So every time we will use this symbol for RMAN utility. So what your RMAN will do is you run RMAN on the entire database, or you can validate your database using RMAN. So what it will do is detect block corruption, and then RMAN can help you rebuild or make the block as it was originally. RMAN will repair the data block corruption for you. Now there are two things. How that corruption, how that repair will happen, that is something we will understand at the end of the session. So I want one of you to remind me after the session is done. Then I'll tell you guys how RMAN repairs the block corruption. But at this stage, I really want to keep the session very simple. So this is the reason if I am using RMAN over the traditional backups, what RMAN will do, if there is a data block corruption, it will also repair for you. So this is the reason your data is safe. RMAN will detect data block corruptions and repair it for you. Great. So understanding so many things about RMAN, let us see few more features of RMAN. Now, there is something called as validating the backup. Now, you take so many backups. Daily, you are taking the backup. But you can ask RMAN, boss, tell me the last backup which I have taken, can I recover my database or not? So that is something called as validating the backup. So this is also one of the good features of RMAN, where you can ask RMAN, boss, yesterday I have taken a full backup. Can I restore my entire database with that backup or not? So that is called as validating the backup. RMAN will go check the backups and it will automatically generate a report and tell you that yes, you can use this backup to completely restore your database. So that is something called as validating the backup. Next is incremental backup. Now this is where the entire Oracle DB interviews stay. All the interviews end with incremental backups, and without incremental backup or knowing about incremental backup, you can't be a DBA. So we will talk about incremental backup in some time. For now, I'm skipping because anyways, RMAN is equal to incremental backup, and without RMAN, there's no point in not discussing about incremental backup. So it is in next slides. So I'm skipping for now. Next is recovery catalog. Now this is something very great feature of RMAN. So what it does. So to understand RMAN catalog, first of all, we must understand what is backup details or backup metadata and where exactly it is stored. So let us assume this is my entire database. So this is my prod.db and I have an RMAN. So with this RMAN, I am taking a backup. Prod.db backup using RMAN. Now, don't you guys think there should be some place where RMAN should store the details of the backup? See, they are taking the database backup using RMAN. RMAN is storing at some place. Now, there should be some place or some metadata or some repository which should tell that okay, RMAN boss, you have taken last backup and you have placed in this location, or all the backups are being placed in certain location, or this is your control file backup, or this is your data file backup, something like that. There should be some repository. Am I right or not? So this repository, that means whenever RMAN takes the backup of your database, it will store the backup information. That means where the backup is, what type of backup is. That means metadata about the backup in the database control file itself. So DB control file. So I repeat again, whenever RMAN takes the database backup, the backup metadata, like where the backup is, what type of backup is, what all files have been backed up, all this backup related metadata is stored again back into the database control file. So your DB control file also contains RMAN backup details. Great. Till now everything is fine. Okay, my production database is running. RMAN is taking the backup. Backup information is there in the control file. Good. Now tell me one thing. If today I lost all the control files, now don't you think RMAN becomes handicapped? Yes, no. Because RMAN cannot find where is the backup. All the details are stored in the control file. Now we have lost the control file. Then how would RMAN know where the backup is? So for this one, for this reason, we have a new concept called as recovery catalog. Now what is recovery catalog? To understand recovery catalog, think that this is one database. This is my RMAN and this is another database. We are saying catalog database. So this is prod.db, this is catalog, and this is my RMAN. Now what happens whenever we take the backup of this database, RMAN will take the backup and RMAN will store the backup metadata details in the catalog DB and also in the control file of the database it is taking the backup. So that means now my metadata about the backup is placed in two places. One is back to the control file, one into the catalog database. Now what is the benefit? Let us assume we lost the control file. So now RMAN is not at all handicapped. RMAN becomes smart. RMAN will go to catalog database. It will get the details of last backup. Let's take this is our backup location. So from here it will go to the backup location. We will first restore the control file. So remember the restoring chart. First we have to restore parameter file, second control file, next data file. Because we have to move from different stages. So first from the backup we are restoring the control file. Great. Our database comes to mount stage. Next again RMAN goes to catalog DB. It will get the data file location, the backup location. It goes to backup place wherever the data is stored. Then it will places all the data files into the perfect location. It opens the database. Now do you think the concept of recovery catalog or a catalog database is really important? Yes, no? Perfect. So I believe everyone is on the same page, right? Great. So this is the power of RMAN. So I'm adding one more point. RMAN can store, RMAN stores backup metadata information in the database control file. Yes. You can never make the same database as the catalog. RMAN stores backup metadata information in the database control file. You can also store the information into different database on different server, which is called as catalog, or we can say recovery catalog. Perfect. And next is we can have multi-destination backups. Now when we are saying multi-destination backups, we can have disk backup and we can also have tape backups. Now what exactly are the tapes? So in reality, in real time, when you go to a company, they generally use something called as tapes. So tapes are nothing but those are called as raw devices. So those we have a data center where we will be having tapes. So all the data is stored in the tapes. So why do we store the data in the tapes? Just because the data in the tapes is safe. It is highly impossible to, you know, hear that data on the tapes have been corrupted, because it will never happen. And you have storage level redundancy. Now, what do you mean by redundancy? Whenever you perform a control C, control V, let's take an example. So at the destination where the data is being stored, it will be stored on multiple tapes. So that is called as redundancy. So in case if you lose one tape, you have data on the other two tapes. So that is storage level redundancy. Now there are different levels of redundancy also. You can have 3 copies, you can have 5 copies, or you can have 1 copy. So if we go with 3 redundancy, that means every time I take a backup, it will be stored in 3 tapes. Then why can't we take backup of the catalog DB as other database file? So I think then why can't we take backup of catalog DB as other data files? We can take it. I think we haven't discussed how to take the backup of catalog DB and all. That is a separate concept. So I won't be touching that one. Okay. So this is how RMAN has a power to take the backups to multiple destinations. Now understand, let us go to traditional backup. That means our user managed backups. Now understand, if I ask you to copy the data files into multiple destinations, now how horrible the situation will be. First of all, copying a 5 terabyte database takes one day, and I am asking you to copy it to 2 destinations. Can you do it? It's not at all possible. So if you try to do also, your database will always be shut down. You will only be doing backups, and God knows when you will bring up the database. So this is why RMAN overcomes these kind of problems. You can have multi-destination backups. And the final one is archive log mode is must to use RMAN. You cannot use RMAN if your database is running in no archive log mode, because RMAN is a recovery tool. And as we have discussed yesterday, when we are recovering our database, there are only two things: restore, recover. We can restore from a backup. We can only recover using archive logs. So if there is no archive log, RMAN will become handicapped. It cannot recover it. Now please don't ask me, at least if database is in not in archive log mode, can we restore? No, not possible. Okay, great. Now getting into understanding the backup methodology. Okay, with RMAN, again there are two types of backup methodology. So we have the same full backup methodology that we had in hot backup. So hot backup and RMAN full backup is one and the same. There is no difference at all. So a full backup is nothing but entire database backup. So with RMAN, you can take the entire database backup. Also, let us take an example. You are trying to play smart, or you thought that we can fool RMAN. Why can't we take a full backup? Then we will take an incremental backup, and we will apply the incremental backup on the full backup. So for your information, if your database backup is full, you cannot apply the incremental backup. I repeat again, if you have taken a full backup, you cannot apply incremental backup on the full backup. That is first thing. Now you will have a question. If I have a full backup, once I will perform the restore, that means copying entire full backup to the original location. How do I perform the recovery? Archive logs. So when you have a full backup, the recovery is performed by applying archive logs. Okay. So this is why in RMAN you have full backup, but people in real time even do not go with full backup? So now you will have a question, what do people go in? Because from last 2 days we are discussing about cold backup, not used in production, hot backup, not used in production, RMAN full backup, not used in production. Then what is used? So in real time, there is something called as incremental backup, which is only used in RMAN. And most of the time, yes, it depends on the environment. There might be a situation where people are using full backup, but it is not recommended. As I said, RMAN full backup is equal to database hot backup. So when you feel there are drawbacks of hot backup, there is again drawback of full backup. Now, why there is a full backup drawback? You will understand once we complete the incremental backup understanding. Now, I think we have a question. Does that mean that RMAN has information on the type of backup made? Of course. See, you are taking backup using RMAN. You are telling RMAN to take full backup. And the question you have asked is, does that mean RMAN has information on the type of backup made? So why won't RMAN know that what type of backup was made? That is what the metadata about the backup. What type of backup, where it is stored, when it was taken, all those information. So that is backup metadata. Now, when it comes to incremental backup, we need to understand what exactly is incremental backup. So to understand incremental backup, so let us try to design some painting. So give me a minute. Let us start with new one. What is RMAN incremental? Very simple. In RMAN incremental, this is your data file, which is having different blocks. Some are used, some are blank. So when I ask you that RMAN is taking the backup, so it will take backup of only which blocks? Great. So RMAN will take the backup of used blocks. Now, there are two things, level 0 and level 1. So the upper part I am saying that it is level 0 and lower part is nothing but level 1 backup. Now when I am taking level 0 backup, understand both of them come under incremental backup. Okay. When I am saying level 0 backup, it will take backup of all the used blocks. That means it is same like full backup. Am I right or not? It is taking backup of all the used blocks. So as per our understanding, RMAN will take backup of only used blocks. Now, when I am taking backup of all the used blocks, it is nothing but equal to full backup. Hold on for all your questions. We'll discuss because RMAN incremental level is very confusing. First, you understand the concept and then you will get the answers automatically. Okay. Next is there is something called as level 1 backup. Now, best part about level 1 is it will take the backup of only blocks which are changed from the last full backup. So, let us assume there are few blocks that have been changed. So, these two blocks have been changed. Now, when I am taking a level 1 backup, what it will do is it will take the backup of only this one and this one. Takes backup of only the changed blocks from last backup. Now tell me, don't you think you are saving at hard disk level? See, I'm having a level 0 backup. It is taking the backup of only used blocks. Let us take our used blocks are 10 GB. Next day I am taking level 1 backup. So level 1 backup is only 1 GB. So that means in 2 days I have only used 11 GB of hard disk space. But if I go back to the same scenario where we started, if the entire database is about 25 GB, so in 2 days I would have used 50 GB OS level space. Now understand, for a small database like 25 GB, if I go with traditional backup, I will spend 50 GB of hard disk space. But if I am going with RMAN incremental, I will use only 11 GB of space in two days. Now let us assume for next day there is no change in the database. So again I am taking level 1 backup. Okay. So that means the backup size will be very low because it will only take the backup of system data file and if there are any changes inside it. So let us assume the backup is only 100 MB. But in the previous case, if next day again I am going to take the backup, so it will become 75 GB. Now understand, where is RMAN and where is our traditional backups? Are we not saving on hard disk space? Great. Now this was about basic understanding of incremental backup. Now what is the use of incremental backup? Now the main use of incremental backup is, let us take this is my database, or we'll try to go with the timeline method. Okay. So this is my database and let us assume this is timeline and this is the growth of the database. Now see, this is how my database is growing with time. Now what happens? Over here I have taken a level 0 backup. Then I am taking level 1. Again level 1. And then I am taking level 0. Okay. Now let us assume, or we will say this is level 1 only. Now let us assume today your database crashed. So what you will do is you will restore the database from last level 0 backup, because you can only restore the database from level 0 backup. Level 1 you cannot restore it. So first you have to restore the database from last level 0 backup and then recover your database with level 1 backups. So when I restore from level 0, the entire all the changed blocks, that means it takes the backup of all the used blocks. So all my used blocks will be placed wherever they are. Am I right? And then when I restore from level 1 backup, sorry, recover from level 1 backup, so only the changed blocks, that means my level 1 backup will go there and change it to current value, change this to current value. And this is how you will recover your database till the point of failure. That means with RMAN we can perform complete recovery. Okay, so a few points I want to mention. I'll mention in this one. RMAN incremental recovery. So what all we have learned? There are two types of backups in incremental recovery. One is level 0. So level 0 is nothing but full database backup, and there is something called as level 1. This is nothing but backup of only change blocks. So we have a question. Does incremental backup after a time slice or after a specific number of hours backup takes synthetic backup? I couldn't get your question. Sorry. Can you be more clear? So synthetic backup means as one incremental fails, it's all gone. So we take a full backup internally. Not really. As I told you once again, I'll repeat it. When we are taking in real time, all the backups are at tape level. So at storage level, there will be a redundancy. When we are having redundancy, that means if I am taking a level 1 backup, it will be stored in 3 hard disks. Example. But in reality, it will be 3 tapes. So if one tape is corrupted, which never happens, let us assume if it happens, you still have 2 tapes. Good question. How RMAN knows which blocks are modified? Great question. Because RMAN is tightly integrated with Oracle, RMAN will go and read the block headers. Every block header will have a SCN. Your table space has an SCN in the header, your data file has an SCN in the header, and even your data block will have an SCN in the data block header. So RMAN will go and check what all uh, data blocks are having updated SCN from the last SCN where last full backup was taken. If the data block has the updated SCN, that means it has been changed, it will take the backup. Nice question. So backup of only changed blocks. So I'll mention it here, taken by referring data block header for dated SCN. And also one more thing we have learned, as per recovery, we must only restore the database from level 0 and recover the DB using level 1. Great. So this is about RMAN incremental backup and RMAN incremental recovery. So level 0 is nothing but full DB backup. It will take the entire database backup, and level 1 is backup changes only from last level 0 backup. Now the question is, what is the difference between full backup and RMAN incremental full backup? So the difference is this one. Now can anyone tell me what do I mean with this one? Can anyone explain? See, we have a full backup. We have an incremental level full DB backup. Now what is the difference between both? It's written on the screen. Can anyone explain?
Yeah. If we take a full backup, it's like it's similar to hot backup,
Right.
where we cannot apply the, either the log or incremental backup on top of it.
Right.
Whereas if we take a level 0 backup, which is a DB full backup,
Right.
but again, we can apply level 1 backup, which are only changes from last time, and we can
Perfect.
apply on top of it.
That's correct. So this is the difference between a full backup and an incremental backup. When we are taking full backup, we can only try to recover the database by applying archives. But when it comes to incremental backup, if I have one level 0 and 3 level 1 backups, I don't have to apply so many archive logs. I can only apply the level 1 or recover using level 1 and then open the database. So this is how it works. Yeah, guys, any doubts? So any doubts till now? Any questions, any doubts? Yeah, please.
Yeah, can you please explain
Sorry.
full backup and incremental level 0 backup once again?
Okay, I would request you to watch the recorded video. So in that one, it will be clear for you because time is the major constraint for all of us. So let us keep the session short and sweet. So all the recorded videos will be available on YouTube and as well as on our Facebook page. So please watch the video to clear the concepts. If you have any new question, let me know. Absence of application of archive logs to incremental backup. Absence of application of archive logs to incremental backup. Sorry, I couldn't understand the question. Can you elaborate it? You said it's not need to apply archive logs to incremental backups. Correct. Now, this is a great question. Now, let us assume that we have all the backups like this, level 0, level 1, level 1, level 1, and today my database failure happened at 8 a.m. But my level 1 backup was about to run at 10 a.m. So what you will do is very simple. You restore database using level 0, recover using level 1, next level 1, next level 1, and from here you don't have any backup. What you will apply? You will apply all the archive logs generated and open the database at 8 a.m. So this is how the recovery process works. If you have level 1, apply it. If you don't have level 1, apply the archives. It will work. Let us assume you have level 0. You don't want to apply all the level 1s. So you need to have all the archives from this point of time. Apply all the archives till 8 a.m. Open the database. Okay. Arun, can we apply archive logs on full backup same as hot backup? Yes, we can apply the archive logs. So as this diagram makes it clear, we can apply archive logs on RMAN full backup, but that is why I have clearly written cannot apply incremental backup on full backup. This is the main point. Nowhere I have mentioned that we cannot apply the archive logs. We cannot apply incremental level 1 backup on full backup. So when you cannot apply incremental level 1 backup on the full backup, then there is no point in taking that backup because level 0 is equal to your full backup. So what you will do by taking the full backup? So this is why everyone goes with incremental backup. In incremental backup, there are two things, level 0, level 1. Now the next question is, what or how should I schedule my backups? So generally what happens is, in real time, you have, this is a week chart. So this is a 1 week plan. So let's take, this is Sunday, okay, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we are not bothered about the last one. So in real time, this is our Sunday. This is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This is Friday. This is Saturday. Now, generally what happens, how we will schedule is, we will say that on every Sunday, we will take level 0 because Sunday application users will be less. There won't be more users in the database. There won't be load on the database. RMAN can freely take the backup and there won't be a performance hit. Next Monday we will take level 1 backup. Tuesday also we will take level 1 backup. Wednesday also we will take level 1 backup. And Thursday also level 1 backup. Similarly Friday also level 1 and Saturday also level 1. Now carefully see the picture. If my database is crashed on Wednesday, I'll restore from level 0, recover using level 1 on Monday, recover using level 1 on Tuesday. Then from this location, I will apply the archive logs till the point of failure, open my database. Let us assume my database failed on Thursday. Restore from level 0, recover using level 1 on Monday, recover using level 1 on Tuesday, same on Wednesday. So from Wednesday level 1 backup, apply all the archive logs till the point of failure, open the database. So this is how it works. Okay. Now, when I am saying that recovery methodology is divided into two parts, restore and recover. Now, I am again and again stressing on we'll have to restore using level 0 backup and we have to recover using level 1 backup. Now tell me, without restore, can I perform a recovery? Without restore, can I do a recover? Yes, no, maybe.
No.
Right. See, if I don't restore from the backup, how can I recover the data? Which means it makes it very clear, without level 0, there is no use of level 1. Make sense? Perfect. So without level 0, you don't try to play around with RMAN and thinking like, okay, I'll take all level 1, I'll just recover the database. Without level 0, how will it work? We need to first perform a restore, then recover the database. And restore can only be done using level 0. Recover can only be done using level 1. That means if I only take level 1, there is no point in keeping the backup at all. But Oracle is smart, RMAN is smart. What there were some people who thought like, okay, we will fool around with RMAN. We will only take level 1 backup. So what Oracle did internally, even if you try to take level 1 for the first time, RMAN will first check if you already have a level 0 or not. If you do not have a level 0, RMAN will convert it to level 0 and take the entire database backup. So RMAN is more intelligent than you. So I'll mention this point in our notes. RMAN when you try to take level 1 backup, RMAN checks if already you have level 0 backup or not. If not, it will take level 0 backup. Perfect. And also, so I'll mention a point. Recovery is of two parts, restore and recover. We cannot perform recovery without doing restore. Hence, level 0 is used for restore and level 1 is used for recovery. So we have a question. If database is crashed and we have a level 1 backup, then how RMAN will take the level 0? This all inputs you have to give, boss. As a DBA, you have to tell RMAN. First of all, you will query the metadata. You will see the last level 0 backup. You have to restore from level 0. You have to recover from level 1. RMAN won't do it automatically for you. You have to tell RMAN from which backup you have to restore, from which backup you have to recover. So hold on till practicals. We will see some practicals where you will understand this part. Okay, great. Let's move on. Now the next topic is connecting to RMAN utility. So RMAN utility comes with Oracle binaries. There is no separate installation required for it. No special installation or license required for using RMAN. At command prompt, just type RMAN. You will be connected to RMAN utility. It default connects to database environmental variables defined. So now the question is, you will have, like I have a production database. I am connecting to RMAN. Which database backup it will take? Of course, the production database. Whatever your environmental variables are defined, RMAN will take the backup of that database only. RMAN utility can be used only when your database is in at least mount stage. So this is very important part. Your database must be in mount stage to at least use RMAN utility to recover your database, because all the database information is, backup metadata is stored in control file, and control file is read only in mount stage. Hence, RMAN can work perfectly well if the database is in mount stage. RMAN is used while the database is up and running and have very little performance impact in backup if backup is running. Now this is very important. Now when you take a hot backup, if you remember yesterday I have mentioned, when we place the database in begin backup mode, there will be high archive generation. Now don't you think that will be a performance impact? Right. That's the reason when we take the backup using RMAN, there is very little performance impact, and still your database will function very well until and unless there is high range of queries or high number of users connected to the database and querying. Okay. Fine. So this is about connecting to RMAN utility. Now there are few components of RMAN, and everyone must know these components to understand what RMAN is. First of all, RMAN prompt is nothing but it's the place where you will perform all the RMAN related activities. Target database. Now this is a term which is used for the database to which RMAN connects. So as I told earlier, whatever your environmental variables are exported, your RMAN will connect to that target database only. So the database to which RMAN will perform backup and recovery is called as target database. Recovery catalog, we have already seen. It is the database in which the backup metadata will be stored along with the target database control file. I repeat, it is the database in which backup metadata will be stored along with the target database control file. Next is auxiliary database. This is important. When you are trying to clone a database, then the database to which you are cloning, or the server to which you are cloning, or the database SID or the new database to which you are cloning is called as auxiliary database. So auxiliary database is nothing but whatever your clone database is, where you will clone the target database is known as auxiliary database. Next we have media management layer. Okay, we have a question. I'm cloning from prod. Okay. Then prod is your target and the database to which you're cloning is your auxiliary database. Simple. Auxiliary database is the target clone where you want to clone. So target will remain always same. Target is the database to which you want RMAN to speak up with. So over here, when I say auxiliary database, first of all, I need to connect to target database through which RMAN will take the data and it will clone to an auxiliary database. Next is RMAN channels. So as I said, we can have parallelism in RMAN. This is where channel comes into picture. When you're taking the backup of the database, you can define multiple channels that let's have 2-3 channels and make the backup fast. So channel is nothing but a connection between the server and the destination. So this is our database server. This is the destination where we are writing the backups. So RMAN will use these channels to pick up the data, write it to target location like this. So with this parallelism, your backup speed will increase. What is auxiliary? Nothing but clone DB connection where you want to make the clone. So these are all the components of RMAN. Now next we will enter into practicals where we will be seeing RMAN configuration parameters. What are RMAN configuration? And we will understand about different components of RMAN once again. And what we will do is we will try and take some incremental backups. We will try to restore the entire database. Channels are nothing but threads. It is equal same. If you want to say it in more programmatically way, it is threads. But internally in RMAN, you call all of them as channels. Okay. Oh, media management layer is nothing but it is the layer between the RMAN and third-party tools like Net Backup, Veritas, or Tape Backups. So media management layer is kind of a layer between uh, the RMAN and the third-party vendor backups. So let us get into practicals. So before getting into practicals, let us take a 15 minutes break and we will be back by 8:45. Let us take 20 minutes break. 8:45 my system time. Hi friends, welcome back, and I believe most of you might be back by now. Shall we start the session? Great. So the first thing we will learn with RMAN is how do we connect to RMAN. So before even connecting to RMAN, as I told, RMAN will always connect to the default database whichever you have exported in the environmental variables. So first of all, check what is my environmental variable set to. So I'll do an echo. Right now my environmental variable is set to prod_db. Let me just connect to RMAN. So to connect to RMAN, there are multiple ways, but the simplest way is RMAN target slash. So what it is doing is I am opening the RMAN utility, connecting to the target database, and slash means I am using OS level authentication. So what do you mean by OS level authentication? Now even when you connect to SQL Plus, you will always use /sysdba. You never use sys/sysdba. Why? What is the importance of this slash? Basically, slash is nothing but it is OS level authentication. Now, when I mean by OS level authentication, understand whenever you will install Oracle, this is your operating system. This is the Oracle user which installs the Oracle database. This is the Oracle database and other Oracle utilities. Okay. So on the top, this is your OS. This is your Oracle user, and let us say SQL Plus, and this is RMAN and other utilities of Oracle, maybe listener or any other utility. So see, first of all, I'll connect to the OS, then I'll connect as the Oracle user, and then I'm trying to connect to SQL Plus. So already two levels of authentication have been passed. That means I have entered the operating system, I'm connected as Oracle user, which means I know the password of Oracle user, and eventually you can install the database only by connecting to Oracle user. So when I am already connected to Oracle user who has performed the database installation, do you think I should provide the password? Not necessary, because I am the right authenticated person. See, Oracle user has performed the installation. Oracle user is trying to connect to the database. Do you think the user who performs the installation, it needs to authenticate it every time? Not necessarily. So what Oracle did is, the user with which you install the database, if you try to connect to the database, instead of providing the user ID and password, you can use slash. So this means go for OS level authentication. If you see that I am the user who has installed the database, use my ID password. I am a genuine user. Allow me into the database. So use OS level authentication. Perfect. So any doubts in this one? This is why when I am connecting to RMAN, I am already into the database as Oracle user. I have already crossed the OS level authentication, which is pretty much genuine. Okay guys, give me a minute. Yeah, I have already crossed the OS level authentication and allow me inside the database. Similarly, right now I have invoked the RMAN utility. I'm telling RMAN to connect to the target database, which is nothing but my environmental variable, and slash means use OS level authentication. So as I'm connected as Oracle user who has performed the installation, I'll be allowed to get into the RMAN utility. Now, once you are inside RMAN utility, it will tell you to which target database it has connected. So do you see this is same as my environmental variable? Yes, no? Correct. Now next, the first and the most important thing that you have to do in RMAN is you have to check the RMAN configuration. So if you go with this slide, this talks about RMAN configuration parameters. So there are few RMAN parameters that you need to set in order to make RMAN work for you. So what are those parameters? So first of all, to see all those parameters, the command you use is show all. So we will try and touch base some of the important RMAN configuration items. So RMAN, so you have to use show all command. Better I'll write like this. Okay. So the first one important one is configure retention policy to redundancy. Now as I told you, redundancy can be anything. Basic redundancy is 1 and redundancy means number of copies. So if I am saying redundancy equal to 2, that means Oracle will take 2 copies of the backup. Now, sorry, RMAN will take 2 copies of the backup. Now these 2 copies of the backup are totally different than storage level redundancy. So what do I mean? See, I have database, RMAN redundancy is 1. That means only one backup copy will be stored in the storage. Now right side is my storage. Now at my storage level, everything we are having redundancy 3, which means this one file will be stored in 3 places. But at RMAN level also you can specify redundancy, which means the same copy or the file will be backed up 2 times, and this file will also be stored at storage level. So combining both the files, we will have 2 files stored 3 times. So this is called as RMAN level redundancy. So we can also have RMAN level redundancy. We can also have storage level redundancy. By default, in every production environment, you will definitely have storage level redundancy, because if one hard disk goes down or some corruption happens, you will have another 2 hard disks for the data. Still, RMAN redundancy is also you can configure. It depends on client's requirement. Now, in the same retention policy, you also have new parameter called as recovery window. So which means you can configure retention policy to a recovery window. So you can say that I want RMAN should be able to recover anytime between last 2 weeks. I repeat, I want that RMAN must be able to recover anytime between last 2 weeks. So in that scenario, my recovery window period would be 2 weeks. Okay. So either you can define recovery window or you can say redundancy. It again depends on the client's requirement. As of now, we are not touching this parameter at any cost. So next we will go with the next parameter. This is very important. So configure control file auto backup. What happens? RMAN by default will only take the backup of data files. But if you configure the control file auto backup on, with your data files, RMAN will take the backup of control file also, and also internally it will take the backup of your SP file as well. Now this parameter defines the format of the control file. So %f is the format which is internally defines a unique name to the control file auto backup or the backup file name. Next we will deal with, okay, so this is also very important. This configuration parameter says that I want to take the backup to device, and the device is disk. This can be tape also. Parallelism is one. As I said, we can have parallelism in RMAN. So you can increase the parallelism to have multiple processes work for the backup. So right now our parallelism is one, and backup type is backup set. So that means all the backups will be in sets. That means different files, and they will be stored at one location. So to understand all the configuration parameter takes time, and it needs a lot of hands-on experience to understand each and every parameter. Right now our goal is not to understand every parameter. Our goal is to perform simple backup and perform simple database recovery. So let us do that. So how do we take the database full backup on the disk? Remember, going back to the slide, we are taking full backup. Okay. So later on we'll also take incremental backup. That is different case. So RMAN DB full backup on the disk. So connect to RMAN target slash, we are already connected. Set the control file auto backup on. So right now our control file auto backup is off, which means only data file backup will be done. So let us change it. So remember, whenever you want to change any configuration, type the same line whatever you see up and modify only the changes. So configure control file auto backup on. Now see, new RMAN configuration parameters, control file auto backup on. So again do show all. Now do we see control file auto backup is on? Next, this is the command to back up your database with archive logs, because we also need the archive log. If the archive logs and database both are backed up by RMAN, RMAN will internally apply the archive logs for you. So you don't have to mention the location unlike in hot backup. So let us perform this backup. So simple command backup database. So what we will do is, first of all we will create a backup location so that we can place all our backups. mkdir rman backup. So this is our backup location. Let us connect to RMAN. So now it is saying we are already connected to prod.db. What we have to do is, first of all do show all. It is saying our control file backup auto backup is on. So which means with our backup even control file will be backed up. Now we are taking the backup database plus archive log format. Now what you can do is you can specify the backup location. So what we are doing is we will specify the backup location slash, you can use %u to uniquely define the backup file names. So with this one, RMAN will automatically assign the backup file names to all the backup files. So you don't have to worry with the backup naming, because RMAN knows from where to take the backup. All the details are stored in the repository. Now see, starting backup at 24th May. So it is checking the archive log threads. As I told you earlier, to use RMAN, database must be in archive log mode. Now can you see, this is going a bit faster than what we used to do at OS level copy and paste. Yes, no? And also if you see, there is only one channel allocated. That means channel or a disk one. Channel or a disk one. Now we can allocate multiple channels to speed up the backup. So understand, right now we are only taking the full backup. After that we will take incremental backup, level 0, level 1, and we will try to recover our database. You can read it, starting full data file backup set. So even if you try to take level 1 backup without having level 0 backup, you can again see the same line over there, starting full database backup. Because RMAN is intelligent, if you try to fool around with RMAN, it will perform its job perfectly well. So now what we will do is, meanwhile on the other tab, we will try to go to the backup location and see if RMAN is writing something or not. Now can you see RMAN is writing some file names? These are the file names. Great, our backup is completed. See, current log archive using channel this one, starting archive log backup set, specifying archive logs in the backup set. Now it will only back up the log sequence which is required after the backup has been taken. See, you have the full backup, and after full backup is done, it needs the archive logs, right? So it will take the full backup and also the archive logs till this point as the backup. Now see, finished backup at 24th May. This is the main point where when we change the control file auto backup on. So starting control file and SP file auto backup at 24th May, piece handle. So this is the backup piece name which contains the control file and SP file, and finished control file and SP file auto backup at 24th May. Great. So this is how we perform a simple full backup. So the archive logs backup can be deleted from the disk? Yes. So now you have the backup of archive logs, you can delete it, or else there is a command in RMAN. If you mention it, it will back up the archive logs and delete from the disk. It will do it for you. You don't have to manually delete the files. Okay. So now, as we know, we cannot, apply level 1 backup on full backup. So we will understand the incremental backup. So to take incremental level 0 backup, we'll use this command. So backup database plus archive log backup incremental level 0. Sorry. Archive log format. So I will give the backup location same as the previous one. Now if you see, it is also doing the same thing. It is first backing up. It is first gathering the details of all the archive logs which are to be backed up. Now see, starting incremental level 0 data file backup set. So if you perform level 1 without level 0, it will perform level 0 for you automatically. And by default, only one channel will be allocated. You can increase the number of channels to speed up the backup. So there might be a lot of doubts and confusion at this stage. So those all are like covered in kind of advanced backup and recovery training. So in case if any one of you are interested for such kind of training, you can let me know. So there is an issue with the backup. See, this is how you get the issues in RMAN. Whenever there is an error, it will throw an error. Okay, we have a good question. Through RMAN, how much of time to take the backup of the 10 TB database? Now, when you say 10 terabytes of database, not entire 10 terabytes of database will have the used 10 TB of database. So if you query the used space versus free space, whatever the used space in the database is, RMAN will take the backup of that one only. Because as we know that RMAN takes backup of only used data blocks, not all data blocks. If we say 10 terabytes database, that does not mean that entire 10 terabytes is used. There might be a lot of free space as well. So it depends. So if you ask me in real time, yes, 10 terabytes of database takes 5 to 6 hours of backup. I'm talking about full backup. Okay, so the issue over here is we do not have sufficient space in flash recovery area. So this is the reason we are getting the error. Okay, so let us check what is the issue. If we enable blockchain tracking, how much of time it will take? See, once again, I'm saying blockchain tracking will be used when you are taking incremental backup. It is kind of a bitmap which used. When you are going for level 0, it has to take the entire database backup. So there is no point in blockchain tracking of uh, in incremental level 0. But yes, it works in level 1 because rather than RMAN going to each and every data block and checking the SCN, there will be a tracking file which has the data block ID which have been changed. RMAN will use that graph, directly go to the block and take the backup. So we can clearly see that our U01 drive is 95% full. So let us try to clear up some space. So we'll see if we can clear up some space in this one. So there might be many issues like this. We have to resolve one by one. So I have deleted the previous backup. Now we see that there is some space in U01. Let us try to rerun our backup. So remember, when you perform control file auto backup on, it will by default go to the flash recovery area. So you can change it or configure control file auto backup format for device type disk to any other location than flash recovery area. So if this time we get error, we will change the location of control file auto backup. Now can you all see our backup is successful? So previously the issue was flash recovery area got full. So right now our level 0 backup has been completed. Okay. After the backup has been completed, if you want to take the level 1 backup, everything is exactly same except level 0 you will mention level 1. Okay. So this is about taking the backup. But how do you know or how to find the backups or list the backup, or how can you query RMAN metadata to get the list of backup? So there are two commands. One is list backup. So you can type list backup. So this will give you the list of all the backups taken till date, whatever type of backup it is. So if you read through carefully, see backup set key 1. This is the size of the backup. Device type disk or tape. What is the time it has taken to backup this part? Is it compressed or not? This is backup tag. So there is very, backup tag is very much important when you perform recovery, because we will use the backup tag to perform the recovery. We will understand about backup tag in some time. So piece name, this is the name of your backup file. So if you go back to user to RMAN backup location, now see the piece name is 01Q7. So 01Q7, that means this file contains the backup of all this. Got the point? So this will list that this backup file contains only the backup of archive logs. Now this backup piece contains the backup of all the data files. Similarly, likewise you can go down, but there is a better command than this one because it confuses a lot. So what you can do is you can use list backup of database summary. List backup of database summary. So this command will give a clear shot of what all backups have been done. See, we had a full backup. F means full backup. It was done to disk, taken on 24th May, and this is the backup tag. This is level 0, taken on disk 24th May. This is the backup tag. Now, when I perform a recovery, I can use either this tag to restore my database or level 0 tag to restore my database. So we will see recovery in some time. So now that we got to know how to take the backup, how to check the backup in RMAN, let us try to perform some recovery. Okay. So recovering DB from incremental backup. So we will see DB recovery using incremental backup. So let us try and take, see, we have level 0. Now what we will do is we will go to database, create a new user, create a table, take a level 1 backup, and then we'll destroy and perform a recovery. So scale plus slash is TPA. So create user RMAN identified by RMAN. I think we had already created a user. Okay, great. Now grant connect resource comma create session to RMAN. Now connect RMAN slash RMAN. Okay, create table student number, insert into student values 1. So I'm inserting only one row into it. Perfect. Now see, my level 0 does not contain this new data or changed data. So let us perform a level 1 backup and you can see how fast it will be because it will only back up the changes. Backup incremental level 1 database plus archive log format. I want to give the backup location. So our backup location will remain this one only, and %u to have a unique name for all the backup pieces. Just watch how fast it will be. I mean, in comparison, it will be faster than your level 0. One more thing, if you see or read this line, using target database control file instead of recovery catalog. So when you are not using recovery catalog, RMAN will use target database control file. See, starting incremental level 1 data file backup set. So what it will do is it will go check all the files. It will get the details of the changed blocks. Now it will try and backup only the changed blocks. So we hope our drive is not full. So user 1 is already 95%. Let's hope we don't get any error. So someone asked me a question like change block tracking. At this stage, change block tracking will make incremental level 1 more faster because it does not have to go to each and every block and check the header for the latest SCN. The change block tracking, it will maintain a table with the block ID and updated SCN. So it will only back up the blocks which have been changed. Great. We didn't face any disk issues in this one. Right. So the best part is let us try and check the backups. So list backup of database summary. Now we can see it completely. We had taken a full backup. This is the tag. We have taken a level 0 backup. This is the tag. And we have a level 1 backup. This is the tag. So what is a tag? Tag is nothing but a name given to entire backup set. So I can restore using level 0. I can recover using level 1 tag. So how it is done? So now we have to first destroy the database and then recover it using RMAN. Remember one thing, my level 0 does not contain the newly created user and the table. Am I right or not? It is contained in the level 1, correct? Yes, no? Is everyone on the same page? Great. So what we will do is we will now destroy the database and then we will recreate entire database using our RMAN. So first of all, exit. Okay. So the next thing is SQL plus /sstpa, select name from control file, select name from $control file, select name from $data file, okay, RM. So we are simulating a failure, control 01.ctl. Now we are also removing the second control file. So RM Now we have undo. We will remove the undo by placing star. Okay, there are no two undo table spaces, no problem. Let us remove users. I see that there are 2-3 users data file. I see an example data file. All are removed. So ls-lrt. Remember, if you want to run OS level commands from SQL prompt, use an exclamation mark. Okay. So with this one, you can use OS level commands. So I see no data file or control file in this location. So great. That means my database is corrupted. We have destroyed our database. Let us check the instance. Now that we got a call from application team that we are not able to connect to database, you went, checked the alert log, you found all the data files, control file, everything has been lost, but instance is running. So what you have to do is, first of all, skill plus /sysdba. So shut abort, because you have to shut the instance. But we can start the database in no mount stage. We have the p file or sp file with us. Next, what we will do is we will restore the control file using RMAN. So we have few queries. While taking level 1 backup, no need to switch log file. You don't have to do anything. As I'm saying, you really have to not do anything in the database or anything. RMAN takes care of everything. Does the extent size of the schema have an impact on the performance of RMAN backup? Extent size, no, it should not have, because as I told you, RMAN backup is block level, not extent level. So if your block level is 8 KB, then RMAN is dependent on the block size, not on the extent size. So nothing to worry about it. Now exit. What you have to do is connect to RMAN, restore the control files. Now when you connect to RMAN, there is something new line you will see. Connected to target database, which is not mounted. Why it is not mounted? Because we don't have control files. So as per our recovery methodology, as per our favorite diagram, I am in no mount stage. My next goal is to go to mount stage. So this one I can only do when I have control files. So what I have to do is restore control file. I think where is the command? Restore control file from. Now you have to give the backup location. So if you go to our RMAN last backup, you can see starting control file and SP file backup, piece handler. Now we need to give this piece handler name. Okay. So first check if it is level 0. Yes, it is level 0. Sorry, level 1 backup. So we have to restore the latest control file. Okay. Now shift insert. So what we are trying to do is we are restoring the latest control file from our backups. Now you have to take the database to mount stage. Now you don't have to switch to SQL plus. You just type in SQL and write your SQL command. Oracle automatically takes the database to mount stage. So alter database mount. Great. So it is saying SQL statement alter database mount release channel this one. That means it is successful. So if you really want to check ps-ef script daemon. Now see, let us connect and check the SQL plus. Select name comma open underscore mode from v dollar database. See, database is mounted. Now, where exactly are we? In this picture, we have only come till mount stage. Now the next most important part is to open the database. Now to open the database, what I need? Data file, which means I need to restore it from level 0. So RMAN target slash. Now that my database is in mount stage, that means I can read from my control file, which means I can list the backup details. So list backup of database summary. Previously, I can't do this one because database was not in mount stage. Now see, it is saying I have level 0 backup, I have level 1 backup. So what I have to do is, I have restored database from this level 0. So in this slide also I mentioned clearly. So after you mount the database, list the backup, restore database from tag level 0 tag. So restore database from tag equal to give the level 0 tag. Now all these files are being copied back to original location from your backup files. So after this we will recover the database and open the database. So with this one we will end our session. So this was a 2-day session on Oracle database backup and recovery. This was only a touch base session where we understood about basic backups and recovery scenarios. So as I told earlier, we can take the backups by increasing number of channels and it will speed up the backup. Similarly, while recovering also you can increase the number of channels and it will increase the speed of the the recovery. Now list backup of database summary. Now what we can do is see, now we don't see the full backup because it is invalid now. There is no point having that backup because we have a level 0 backup and we have performed the restore from it. Now we will recover the database with level 1. So recover database from tag equal to give the level 1 tag. Now it is performing the recovery. That means our new user which was added into the database, that will be available right now. Okay. And finally, we have to open the database using reset logs because we have restored the control file. Alter database, open reset logs. So do you think RMAN simplifies the DBA job? It indeed does because you don't have the headache of taking backups, where to place the backups, what is the name of the backup, what is the location of the backup, is it full backup or is it level 0, level 1, everything is taken care by RMAN. And actually if you work in real time, if you have a recovery catalog, you will understand the power of RMAN. So our reset logs is taking some time. Great. So let us exit from RMAN and check if our database is open or not. SQL plus /SSDBA. Select name comma open underscore mode from the $database. Can you see? We have fully recovered our database using an incremental backup. And if I check archive log list, the log sequence should be reset to 1 because we have performed open reset logs. So it is resetting the log sequence number. So with this one, we end our session. Any question, any doubts you guys want to have or you want to ask? It's open for all. Okay guys, before we end our session, just want to let you all know, we are coming up with a backup and recovery advanced session. It's a training program that you need to enroll, and it is a paid program. If you all or anyone is interested to go for an RMAN or backup recovery uh, training program, what you can do is send all your queries to our official mail ID, hello@oraclegenesis.com. Alternatively, you can like our Facebook page at Facebook/Oracle Genesis, like our page, or you can alternatively subscribe to our YouTube page, which is our YouTube channel, which is Oracle Genesis. Or if you really want to see our website, you can go to oraclegenesis.com and check all the training courses available over there. So regarding cost and all, everything, you can send an email. Our admin team will get back to you and they will let you know. It is only 1 week program. Oracle database backup and recovery, 1 week program. With this one, you also get a cloud server. You can practice on the cloud server, connect to it, practice it. And internally, you will also get backup and recovery videos. So it will entirely have all the videos of every scenario. Let's take you are performing a cold backup. You refer to a cold backup video. You have the cold backup documentation. Perform the activity on the cloud server. So this program specifically deals in only the database backup and recovery. But if you are looking for really Oracle DBA program, that is totally different. Oracle DBA. That's like a 45 days program. Again, in this one, you get virtual lab. You can perform remote connectivity. You can do all the DBA activities, and you also get course material. And it's a completely soft copy. So it's the virtual class or in-class program. All the training classes taken by us are online. We take all the training sessions using GoToMeeting software, like how we are performing this session. So I thank you all for joining the session and hope to see you again in further sessions. Thank you.